And we're live. Oh, yeah. Back on this week's episode of Choosing Us. Welcome back, you guys. This one's going to be potentially a tough one.
For a lot of people.
And I really want you to ponder about your life and what you're doing in these capacities and how you are behaving, acting, what your intention is, what you are choosing based off of what's happening in your life.
Really, the first step with this is going to be recognizing that you do this and accepting that this is a choice that you are making and that you can change, that you don't have to be stuck where you're at.
And if you think change takes a long time, I would ask you the question, when did you decide that change takes a long time? Because change can happen in an instant in all things. Financial change, emotional change, spiritual change, physical change. They can all happen in a single decision, single moment. But most people feel and have decided that it takes a great deal of time for that to take place. And I challenge that question with, when did you decide this? Or did you decide it?
Fact.
Did somebody else decide it for you and you inherited it? Like a parent or a grandparent. That's a topic for a different discussion.
Yep.
But what we are talking about is daily activities. Daily things that grind your gears. Things that bug you.
Yep. And the bigger things of resentment. Are you holding on to resentment for your partner?
So we're going to back things up. There's a book that I love by an author named Napoleon Hill called Outwitting the Devil. Outwitting the Devil. And spoiler alert, if you don't want to listen to it or don't know what happens, skip forward like 10 seconds. The whole premise of the book is the devil does not need you to do something grand. He simply needs you to drift. He's not looking for you to all of a sudden go do something chaotic, outlandish, way out there. That's not what he's trying to do. Sometimes he does, very rarely, and that is not his goal or his intention. His intention is for you to drift. Ever so slowly. Scripture says line upon line and precept upon precept, bound by a flaxen cord.
And it all starts with a thought.
Everything starts with a thought, because where you focus, you truly do find. And your thoughts precede your actions, and your actions precede your opportunities.
Well, and a quote that I've heard before that I love is your thoughts do not control you. You control your thoughts. And that's a really hard one for people to understand. They think that the thoughts that come into their head are fact. They're not fact. They are just words that come up into your brain that you get to choose what you do with them. That you can physically say, nope, I didn't like that thought. I'm not going to agree with that. I'm not going to go with that. I'm not going to believe that. And I'm going to change course now. You can change your thoughts, and it actually helps to physically speak it out. If you have negative thoughts about your partner, about really anybody else, and having these judgmental thoughts about people, right? Or really any thoughts, maybe even about yourself, about your body, about what you think about yourself. You can stop those thoughts immediately and physically say out loud, no, I don't agree with that. No, that's not true. That's not fact. My thoughts are not fact. And you get to choose to change it in that moment.
There was a religious leader. His name's Gordon B. Hinckley. And I remember him. I was watching him live speak. He said, you are not your thoughts, and it's not the thought that counts. It's what you do with the thought that matters. And that goes both directions, right? You can have a great, well-intentioned thought that you do nothing with. Therefore, it was good for nothing. You can have a terrible, messed up thought Super perverse thought, do nothing with. And it's okay. It doesn't matter. You can have a great thought that you do something with, and it's awesome. You have a terrible, disgusting thought and do something with it. And that matters. And how important it is to direct your thoughts, direct the path to which you decide to think. We're teaching this to our sons. Our sons, both of them, but our oldest one. He recently has started to have nightmares. He's in that stage of life. He's 5 years old. He's now having nightmares. He's recognizing scary dreams. The other day, he had a dream that there was tractors driving around our house and through our house with nobody in them. That to him was a nightmare because he felt that humans should be in the tractors. They shouldn't be driving themselves. Little does he know, there are such things as autonomous tractors now. But that was a nightmare to him. And as an adult, you're like, why is that a nightmare? It's because he decided it was a nightmare. And Michaela said,
I told him, I said, you have control of your thoughts. And what you say means a lot. And right before bed, he was telling me that he was scared to go to sleep because he's like, I'm going to have nightmares. I'm going to have nightmares. And I said, guess what? Now you are, because you are telling yourself, I am going to have nightmares. So what's your body going to do? What is your brain going to do? It is going to listen to the words coming out of your mouth, and it is going to put that into existence. Our words are extremely powerful. So I told him, change your words and say, I'm going to have good dreams. I'm going to have great dreams. What do you want to dream about? Do you want to dream about the beach? Do you want to dream about roller coasters? Like some of the things that he enjoys doing, I would bring to his attention and say, be specific about it. I want to have great dreams about playing in the sand on the beach. I'm going to have great dreams about this. And say that out loud. Well, you are telling your body and your brain what to do because you are in control. So I told him, and then he climbed in bed. I said, okay, good night. And I was walking out the door and he goes, I'm going to have good dreams. I'm going to have good dreams. And guess what? He didn't have any nightmares that night. And how important that is, that the words you speak, you put into existence. So we've talked about this in previous episodes about talking to your friends, talking bad about your partner to your friends. You are putting those negative thoughts that you had or annoying things, annoying habits that your partner does, and you are vocalizing that to your friends. So guess what? Guess where your attention is going to go? To those negative things, those tiny little things that start out just little, that now are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger as you start vocalizing them and sharing them with people, and it becomes bigger.
These thoughts, the acronym is ANTs, A-N-T-A, A-N-T-S, ANTs, which is automatic negative thoughts. An automatic negative thought, just like a single ant, is very easy to get rid of. Squish the ant. It's not hard. Easy to get rid of, easy to eradicate from this world. Just squish it. If you have a whole hive or whatever ants are called, nest, whatever, anthill, and you step on it and you get 1,000,000 ants on you, that is very difficult to get off. And in fact, if it's the right ant, they'll kill you. If it's a soldier ant, you're dead. But it's easy to kill one soldier ant. And that's the same way in our lives. You have these automatic negative thoughts, and yes, they are autonomous. They do just pop up. Regardless of what you were thinking about, negative thoughts come in. Welcome to being human. We tend to lean that way because that's human nature. That keeps you safe. At least in prehistoric times. You didn't know if there was a saber-toothed tiger right around the corner. You didn't know if there was a woolly mammoth coming around. You didn't know what was going on. Therefore, you had these automatic negative thoughts as a defense mechanism. That's one of the reasons we have them, at least we think. They're very easy to get rid of in today's society. And it's so easy to squish one, but if you let it ruminate, if you let it just go on forever and you deeply think, you're going to have problems. And by way of ruminating, there's two definitions of ruminating. One is to think deeply of. The other one is a cow chewing its cud. which is bringing back up once digested food to chew on it again, or bringing things up from the past in thought process and creating space for it and gnawing on it again and again and again, over and over and over again. It does you no good. But these things can be anywhere from my beard trimmings in the sink. I shave my head every day. I trim my beard every day because I want to show up my best every day. I want to live ready. I want to be ready for any camera, any stage, any interaction. There's a reason I dress the way I do, even at home. I wear dress boots full time, even at home. Even when we go to the park with our kids, I wear nicer pants, nicer shirts, full time, even lounging around on a Sunday, because I want to be ready for any interaction. I don't need to say, hold on, give me 5 minutes. I need to get prepared. That same instance in life is you need to be ready. And that's a total side tangent about why I get ready. But, but Michaela could so easily get really annoyed if I forget to clean the beard trimmings. I try really hard to clean them, but I do forget.
I have gotten very annoyed in the past, but it's a simple little thing that's not hard to fix. And yes, I'll clean it up in the moment, but then I will have the conversation with you and be like, hey, it happened again. Like,
clean up your beard trimmings.
Yep, cleaned up.
And I try really hard to.
And we have the conversations. If things bother us or annoy us, the little things, you don't go talk to your girlfriends about it. You talk to your partner. So guess what? If you actually have the conversation and be like, hey, I know this isn't a very big thing, but this kind of bothers me or annoys me. Is this something we can improve on and do better? And then he actually knows and can do something about it. If you don't tell him, be like, this thing kind of annoys me. It's simple, it's silly, it's nothing really big, but it does bother me. Then they can fix it. But if you don't tell them and you just go tell your girlfriends and complain about, oh, there he goes, husband leaving his beard trimmings in the sink again, how is he going to know to fix it? He's not. He can't read your mind. He's not going to be able to know when he comes home from work and he's like, why are you annoyed? And then you still don't tell him why you're annoyed. And then this builds and it builds and it builds. If you do this with the little simple things on a daily basis, be like, hey, do you think we can maybe improve in this area? And it has to go both ways. There has been some times to where I'm like, okay, I'm telling you all the time, like things you should work on to do better, but you're not really telling me the things that I should be working on to be better. And we've had that conversation because for you have a way of in your brain that it's not very important and it's a very small thing. And so you will actually just brush it off. But then you've told me that because you'll be like, well, there's nothing really. And I'm like, what do you mean there's nothing really? There's got to be tons of annoying things that I do. And you'll be like, no, like I can't really think of any. And then I'll tell you, okay, well, when it comes up, when the next thing comes up, tell me. And you say that when those little things come up that annoy you, you just brush them off because it's not a big deal, which is true. But addressing that with me the first time when it happens gives me the opportunity to improve, gives me the opportunity to become more of a team player because I'm constantly asking you like, hey, do you think we can improve on this? Do you think like this is something that kind of bothers me? Do you think we can do better at that? And you do great and you don't get defensive and you're like, yeah, I'll work on that. But then I'm not feeling like I'm able to do my part for me to improve in our relationship because you will just brush it off and say, it wasn't a big deal. Like, I'm not going to think about it. But I feel like that's you not vocalizing and not communicating that there are things that annoy you and bug you. And I would love to work on me for our relationship. So then that's one less thing that you have to brush off, that you don't need to do that you can communicate and that I'm going to improve and be better just the way that you are. And when you fix those little things, It doesn't build to bigger things.
And the point that she's making is so true, which is you're not telling your spouse to improve it because it bugs you. I mean, you are, but that's not the reason. The reason, well, one of two things. One, so it doesn't build. But for somebody like me, it doesn't build. I don't ruminate on things. I just let it go. And I don't really care. But you're allowing a space for your spouse to become better, to grow, to expand, to become beyond what they are now. And the only way they can do that is if they know of things that they could improve on. And how important that is. How easy it is to squash the ants. How important it is to squash the ants. And it's the only way you're going to get to where you're trying to go. Because it may start off with beard trimmings. And then we'll advance to the point that she's annoyed how I put my shoes on. She's annoyed how I wear my shirt. How I put it on. How I brush my teeth. Not the fact that I do brush my teeth, but how I brush my teeth. It gets to that point. It gets to where everything that person does is annoying. But it didn't start that way. It started off with something very simple, very small. Where they put their shoes. Do they line them up? Are they where they're supposed to be? Where do the socks go? Where do the clothes go? Where do the beard trimmings go? Where does the hair on the floor go? Who brushes the dog? Who picks up dog poop? Like, it's all these things that are so small and fairly insignificant by themselves. But when ruminated upon, can stack and can build and can cause this resentment that Michaela spoke about earlier.
And the resentment is big. Your body, like we've talked about with other things, your body will hold that. That emotion in your body is like poison. Holding on to resentment, especially for your partner, your teammate, your other half, starts small and then it builds and it builds and it builds. And then it becomes this big resentment to where you can't even stand, like you said, how they brush their teeth. And you wonder how you got to this point to where you don't even want them to touch you. You have no libido anymore. You don't want to be intimate together. And then your partner goes, what happened? Where did we go wrong? Like, I feel so distant from you right now. And then usually it's the female, the girl, that's like, yeah, I'm not close to you at all. I have no desire to be touched, for you to touch you. I don't want to be close. There's emotional disconnection. There is so much resentment there. And a lot of times it starts with these little seeds that you thought, well, maybe it's nothing. I won't talk to them about that. And then it builds and it builds. And then everything they do annoys you. You have to remove that from your body. You have to not hold on to it. You have to start when it's little and have the conversations and communicate and say, you know what, this kind of bugs me. Is this something that we could work on? And guess what? Sometimes they're not going to change right away. A lot of times it's not going to happen the first time you ask because they maybe don't think about it. That it takes time. But the next time it happens, not building resentment on that. Not being like, I asked him not to do this and now he's still doing it. Maybe it was an honest mistake. Maybe he forgot. Maybe he wasn't thinking about it. That's okay. You cannot hold onto that in your body. If you start holding this in your body, you can actually, as it builds and builds and builds over time, you can become physically sick. You could start seeing disease in your body. You can start seeing illnesses, all of these different things that are coming up nowadays that we're recognizing and seeing that being emotionally trapped and not releasing it, your body will turn it into disease.
And notice what she said. She says, is this something we can work on? Not, is this something you can work on? This is a we thing.
It's true.
It's all a we thing. It's not just your behavior in correcting it. It's my behavior in reacting to it. It's a we thing.
And if you go back to one of our first episodes, we talk about how from the very, very beginning, there has never been a you or an I. And I love that in our relationship, and it helps so much. So take a step back and look and see what you are doing in your relationship. And if you are saying, you need to change this, you need to mow the lawn, you need to pick up the dog poop, you need to take out the trash, you are putting so much onto them instead of being a team and saying, hey, we got to pick up the dog poop today. We got to take the trash out today. We say that every single time, every conversation that we have. It is never a, hey, I need you to go do this. Even if it's in a nice way, even if it's casual conversation, hey, I need you to go pick this up. I need you to go do this. That's not what we say. It is always, we need to go to the grocery store. We need to go do this. Even if I am telling him that I'm going to the grocery store, I will say, oh yeah, we need to go to the grocery store today. He knows that I'm going to go to the grocery store, but I will always say we because we are a team. And it has helped in so many conversations that, especially with poopy diapers, because I hate poopy diapers. And so it really has just become a thing that I'll say, hey, we need to change his diaper. And Brad knows I'm saying, please go change his diaper. Because I'm not going to say, will you go change his diaper? Will you change his diaper? Will you change his diaper? Then he's like, I'm always the one changing the diapers, which granted, sometimes that does happen. But it's we.
You have to understand, and we'll wrap up with this thought. This has been an 11-year skill. You, I, those words do not work in our house. They don't get used. They get to the point, and this is to the point, that we are unconsciously competent. We don't even know we do it. We just do it. Because you've got unconscious incompetence. You suck at it, and you don't know you suck at it. You have conscious incompetence. You know you suck at it. You have conscious competence. You're good at it, and you know you're good at it. And then unconscious competence. You're good at it and don't even know it. This takes a great deal of time. And we recognize in most relationships that is a massive hurdle. But it starts intentionally. It did not get to this point by happenstance. It got to this point intentionally with a great deal of effort. There were so many times early on in our marriage, in our relationship, where I'd catch myself and correct it. I'd have the thought, and as it's coming out, I would correct the word coming out. Or I would think it and correct it in my thoughts. You need to do this. We need to do this. I need to do this. We need to do this. Start correcting that. Correct the thoughts. Squash the ants. That's how you're going to build a relationship that's fortified in stone.
Yep.
The end. We're done. So have this conversation with your spouse. It is super important. It is super vital, and it needs to be discussed. Share this episode with your friends and your family. It is the only way it grows. Leave us reviews on Apple, on Spotify, wherever you listen to it. Find me on socials, Mr. Brad Draper.
And you'll find me at Choosing Us.
Like this thing, subscribe to it, download it for future listenings. Until next week, we love you guys. Bye.